of warm lights is strange. She just thinks it's her life. That's all she knows. So when her sight returns by accident, that's when everything becomes really shocking. Not only because she can see the world like she's never experienced it before, but she's also realised that the one person she trusts the most, the only person she knows in the world, has betrayed her. So sort of fairly straightforward.
Thank you. Another question, and a hand up. Yes, can we have a hand at the back there?
Hello, I'm Dominic. My question is for the two actresses in Dark Light. I just wanted to wonder, when you were given the script, how did you both develop your characters once you read it through?
Okay, well, as you were saying, we had a couple of days rehearsal, which I think was invaluable, actually. But we really, it was just very, very quiet and gentle, wasn't it? We just sort of had a talk, really. I think actually, for Alicia, it was a much harder thing because having to deal with the blindness and obviously such a huge journey for her as a character. So I think you actually had some rehearsal before me, didn't you, with just with the director?
There was one day where we went to one of the locations we were shooting, which was me and the director and the writer, and we just did various exercises. So one of them was that he set up a table in the middle of the room and said, okay, I want you to lay this table for dinner sighted, as you are now, and then I want you to do it unsighted, so with your eyes shut. And the difference in knowing what you were doing and how you negotiated the space, I literally had to count steps and do widths with my finger in terms of the knife and the fork and its relation to the plate stuff. And then I had to do that again, but with my eyes open. So it was just about how you use your other senses, really, to make up for the fact that you've lost, arguably, your most vital one. And it was, I suppose I just did it by kind of zoning out as if I was in a daydream and everything else going into soft focus. And trying to make sure that it showed in my physicality that I was picking up things in other ways. So, I was quite twitchy because of how I was hearing things and jittery because I bumping into things. And as playing a young person, I still obviously hadn't quite got to terms with negotiating the world around me. So, in the character's still learning how to do that as well. So, I suppose, like that.
Thank you.
That
was amazing, by the way.
Just on the aisle, down here.
My question's for the flight of the Troubadour. Particularly that your film was really. How long was your film?
Before credits, 6 minutes 40. With credits, 7 minutes 40.
Very nice as well. Thank you. Just wondering, because of the length of your film, what were the challenges or the opportunities and how you approached making a film with that length versus a longer film?
Challenges of length. Well, we thought it was going to be a bit shorter, actually, didn't we? But I think that breaks down to when you've got action without dialogue. A line on a page might take up a lot more screen time in action. So that was quite interesting. We were hoping it wouldn't reach 10 minutes, and that was our fear. We wanted it to stay within the kind of 5 minutes maximum of what we were talking about. So it wasn't on our minds, so we had to just I had to just be on the ball watching action. Because you can get lost when you're just watching action without dialogue, I think, sometimes, unless you're sure what you want. But I think I'm very happy with the length. I don't think it should be longer.
Thank you. Yes, just behind there, there's two hands just.
Hi, this is a general question to everybody. Funding is very difficult to get these days. Have you got any tips for young aspiring filmmakers on how to encourage the various film funding bodies that are listed throughout those films to achieve the funding needed to produce something as good as what you did today?
Karen, would you like to?
Just hard work and stick to your guns. It's all. It breaks down to your script, I guess. If you're a director, is what the.
I'm a lecturer, actually.
Oh, okay. How to convince them? I don't know. I think it's down to the project and how you kind of sell yourself in these things? Are you talking to like film funds and things like that?
Yeah, there's quite a lot of film fund listings in the various different agencies. I saw Film London and quite a lot of things at the end of the credits.
We're doing another one that just got funded by the BFI. I can't answer how we got it, so I don't know. Hard work.
The Rankin Films, who produced mine, actually have a scheme now called Collaborate, which is, I think, 10 grand budget, and I think they're taking submissions at the moment. But in how to persuade people, I would say, you know, if it's possible to shoot some sort of teaser that shows your style, you know, if you're at film school or you're in some sort of facility that's got cameras and stuff that you can use, to have something that you can show, to show that you've got a sense of humour or a voice or, you know, an idea of tension, and then submit that with a script. I think, you know, there's so many filmmakers now that you have to persuade people that you've got a voice and that you've got an eye and that there's a reason that they should be using you. Sometimes just a script being sent cold, I think it's quite hard for them to visualise what you would then do with it to make it cinematic. So, you know, I think that's a good idea. And there are schemes all the time. They are a bit of a nightmare sometimes, but it is worth keeping an eye out for those schemes, I think. But Collaborate is now, I think I'm right in saying that.
Yeah, what I was going to say is that there's obviously the cheap option of just doing it yourself, in that you can usually, you get somebody, like for example, if someone's a focus puller and you make them the DOP, then they'll do it for that credit, and you can do that a lot, I think, because I think most filmmakers like making films, so if they have got a few days free, you'll be able to get people to come on board with you. So yeah, there's always that, you know, especially with digital technology now, you can edit on your computer, and you know, so I do think just go for it, you know, even if you haven't got the money or the funding.
Any other advice? Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. Next question.
Can I answer the next one? Right next to it.
Do it.
I was actually going to ask the same question, but can I just start by saying congratulations to the whole panel. They were fantastic films this year. I thought of another question now, and that's basically, is there any advice you could give to young filmmakers here about how to write a short film and get a short film made, as opposed to a feature-length film, because we're used to seeing feature-length films. How do you make it tell a story within such a short period of time, develop character, create structure, and you know, evoke some kind of emotion from your audience? That's for the filmmakers.
What I was going to say is I did write a short film, but I think that actually, with our film, the film I made was called Domestic Flight, it was 17 minutes, and I think actually that's quite a nice length in terms of, you know, the story structure, and you know, people don't get restless, and I think it's really just, you can't ramble, I suppose, so it's quite a good discipline. You've got to be very economic. But I mean, I think, you know, it's proved today with, I mean, I couldn't believe it actually when you said the film was only 6-7 minutes, because I felt so involved with that character. I just can't believe that I got into his head after such a short time. But I think probably Kate's best one to answer this, as you wrote.
Well, I mainly spend my time writing features and episodic telly and stuff, so I think shorts are really, really hard to write, actually. And they're really easy to be boring, and they're really easy to be gags. And the one thing I was really amazed, maybe mine was the weakest in this area, I don't know, but a lot of short films can do that thing of they'll do 8 minutes of setup and then a 1 minute, whee, punchline. And I think it's not really unfair, this is just my personal taste, to ask an audience to sit through 8 minutes setup just to kind of go, woo, for a joke. And so I think it's a really interesting thing to look into, is there a story that wouldn't suit a feature? You know, it's not long enough for a feature. So often they're about moments, you know, just a moment. And I think, you know, what you were saying about wanting to evoke a feeling, that's very much how we felt, and that's how I work with the DOP, Tat Radcliffe, is like, my ideal would be that people come out of it having felt a little bit like Claire felt, you know. And so if you can come up with something that is a moment, and it has a journey. It's got a beginning, middle, and end. They're going one, feeling one way, and they come out proud of their hair, or kind of, you know, realising it's never going to work, or whatever it is. To have that thing, but I think it's really about thinking, I don't want this to be a teaser for a feature. I think that's a bit much to ask of an audience as well, and to enjoy the fact it's short. I think this only can be told in a short. And then to really start sort of thinking, how do I do that? Rather than, oh, I wish this was a feature and it's just short. So, you know, I think shorts are really hard, but I think they are a brilliant thing. Beginning, middle and end definitely does count still in a short. And often you see long beginning, end in shorts. Whereas I think beginning, middle and end is something to think about in a short as well.
I think you said everything. That was good. I would say watch if you want to try and write shorts, watch as many art festivals as you can. Pick the ones that work and try to figure out why they work for you, why they spoke to you. I made lots of terrible shorts until I sort of so that they practice and try to start as small as possible just to get a sort of understanding of the language of film. Set yourself a small goal, and then from that you can build forward and build your ambitions, I guess, or just go for it and make the biggest one.
Could I just ask, just so we got the mic, just for the three of you, for your film, how long was your shoot, and at what point did the three of you, I mean, you were involved all the way through, and how long was the project for you? How long was the shoot, and how long were Bjorn and Pete involved?
Okay, I actually wrote this film a very long time. I wrote it in 2008, and we ended up shooting it just as that's how it came around. It was a 2-day shoot, was it not? 2-day shoot. Bjorn is involved from generally when I'm writing things, we start talking. It's just the way our relationship's been. We prepped for less than a month. On and off for about a month. And Pete got involved. When did we start talking? Was I... After it was shot, yeah. So as we were going into, I started to talk to Pete about the music as we were kind of starting to cut, and cut for about, I think we cut it in about a week. And music took a lot longer. We spent a lot of time on music. What Pete was saying earlier, what we found interesting is I've never worked with so many different composers and we get so much different music. There's a scene I'd asked Pete to compose a song for, and we tried it on, and it didn't quite work, but when we transplanted it on a different scene, it felt real. Because the other aim, which was very hard for all these guys making the music, was